Hey folks, it's Matt once again, and welcome back to another review for the Sylvester Stallone Marathon. For a film that, honestly, this was the first time I ever saw it, Paradise Alley. Paradise Alley came out in 1978, the same year as Fist, and of course this was after Rocky was a success, so since that was such a big hit and won a lot of Oscars, nominated for other Oscars, Stallone got carte blanche and he got to direct. This was the first film he ever directed. He got to write, star in the film, and he even sang the opening and ending credit. The song that it's the same song for the opening and ending credits, and right off the bat, it's fucking horrible. It's a bad idea. Sly, I love you. I really do. You cannot sing. At least Rhinestone, that was meant to be a joke for the most part, but you can't sing. And it was like having my ears bleed. Welcome to the paradise. Whatever the hell the song was. If people liked the movie and liked the song, that's fine. I did not. And getting to the movie, when the movie got done, I literally sat there for a good minute because it's not an awful film. It's not a terrible film. But if I had to be honest with myself, there are other Stallone films that I don't like that I would rather watch. I would rather watch Judge Dredd than this. And I don't like Judge Dredd. But then I'm thinking, well, Judge Dredd, at least I like some of the technical aspects, the special effects, some of the few action set pieces. When Stallone's in the garb and he has the lawgiver and he's saying all the commands, and so there's more stuff I like about that than this. At best, I think it's a forgettable time waster, but I could lie and say I liked it, but I'd be lying. And it's not because I don't like dramas. Hell, one of my a favorite film of mine is The Shawshank Redemption. It's not that I don't like Stallone in a drama, because I've said many times, and I will continue to say many times, that I think Stallone is an underrated actor for dramas. Copland is an excellent film, not just for the bits of action, but his performance is great. ICU, one of the main reasons I like ICU, aka Detox, is Stallone's performance in that. And the original Rocky, hell, most of the Rocky films, I mean, yeah, you have the big boxing scene at the end, but I enjoy them. They're dramas. They're sports movies, dramas. You could label them as action, but you have the training scene and you have the boxing match at the end. So it's not wall-to-wall action. It's just I found this film slow. I found this film sluggish to watch. I thought it meandered at points because the gist of the plot, it takes place in the 1940s. You have three brothers. You have Stallone, who's a con artist, and he'll do things like steal someone's suit, and that someone is a corpse. Or there's a woman knocked out at a bar, like passed out, and he'll steal her ring. This weird tangent where he enters his brother in this arm wrestling bet to win this monkey, and then try to use the monkey on the side of the road as the dancing monkey, and of course the monkey doesn't want to do anything. He's trying to make a quick buck. He's a con artist trying to make a quick buck. Kind of a jerk and an asshole for the first hour and such of the movie. One brother's Armand Assante, which, weirdly enough, Judge Dredd. I think that's what made me think of Judge Dredd. And again, I'm not a big fan of Stallone's Judge Dredd. I prefer Dredd with Carl Urban. But compared to this, I'd rather watch Stallone's Judge Dredd. But Armand Assante is one brother, and he was in the war. He has a limp. He's got to walk with a cane. And for the 2/3 of the film, he's sort of the cool demeanor, cool attitude, making their third brother, the third guy, laugh. Like, he'll do like a Charlie Chaplin impression to make him smile. And that third person is this big, muscle-bound, but nickel head, but good heart type of guy. He's very dumb, but he's got good heart. And the guy who played him didn't do anything for me. It's pretty much just one mode. He has a soft voice, and that's it. He's a soft voice mode. He really didn't show any emotion. It wasn't much of a performance. It was just, hey, how's it going? Oh, hey, how you doing? It's pretty much that tone of voice throughout. He never gets mad. He never gets, well, just technically gets mad in the wrestling matches, but he's never yelling at anybody, or it's not much of a performance. Anyway, the three brothers in New York in the 40s. And as they'll say here, the Paradise Alley, a private club where the floor show consists of wrestling matches. And Stallone thinks, oh, I could get a lot of money. We could make a lot of money from this. So why don't you, since you got all these muscles, go in and start doing these wrestling matches? But the whole wrestling match thing doesn't kick in until like 50 minutes in the film. And the first 50 minutes is just meandering plot about the three of them in Hell's Kitchen. Okay, but it's trying to be funny, but it's not really funny. It's trying to be weird at times. I mean, there's a point where Stallone literally has a fucking monkey tied up with duct tape on its mouth. And to me, I'm just going, what? Or Joe Spinell, the maniac himself. Joe Spinell's in this as the ring master. And it's just him, talking to the crowd, and at some points wears a red nose as if he's a clown. And I'm like, what? But yeah, I don't really care for Stallone's character because he's a fucking asshole for a good chunk of it. I mean, he pretends to be this legless guy to get money. The first thing he did is a foot race, and it goes in slow-mo over rooftops, and with that horrible song that Sly is singing. And then he pretends to be legless to get some money. I mean, yeah, you just see that in films like Trading Places, but Eddie Murphy, even though he was doing con artist stuff, I still found him likable. Here, I don't know, just some of Stallone's performance is fine, but some of it feels a bit forced. Like, previously he had done Rocky, and Rocky, that performance seemed very natural. This one, I don't know, just at times it seemed like his dialogue that he wrote himself. And this does seem like an ego trip of a film. I mean, writing, directing, starring, and singing the song, and certain things, certain moments. It did seem like an ego trip for Sly. And again, I love Sly to death. People who are going to get mad, I love Stallone to death. I have a fucking Cobra poster back here. I'm going to be singing the praises of Daylight, which no one likes but me and two other people. Or I'm going to be singing the praises of Detox and Get Carter, let alone Copland, Cobra, Over the Top. I mean, plenty more, but Rambo 3 I think is underrated as fuck. I love all 4 Rambo films. But this, I wanted to like it. It was just boring. Again, Stallone's performance, sometimes he was, it's not that he was boring to watch. It's not that he was wooden. It just, some of his, I can't put it into words. Like, some of it was fine. Or maybe it was the way the character, he wrote the character. I don't know. And jumping ahead, I think it's kind of a poorly written story. Because when you get to the third act, all of a sudden, almost at random, as once we get to the actual plot of the film, 50 fucking minutes into the flick, the third, what did they say? What Carboni? That's their last name. The third Carboni, the big guy, Stallone finally convinces him to be a wrestler, and Armand Assante is asked by the strong guy to, hey, you want to be sort of my manager? He does. And on a flip of a switch, again, almost random, there's really no build up to this. If there is, it's so small that it's anorexic. You know, I gotta squint really hard to see it. Armand Assante all of a sudden is an asshole. And either he's trying to do his best impression of Mickey from Rocky, or he's just being a guy who is caring less and less about his brother's health in these wrestling matches. While before it was all he cared about. Oh, don't listen to Stallone. He wants to get you in these bad situations. Don't listen to him. And this cool demeanor. Now all of a sudden, I'm like, where did this come from? It seems like there's not much of a build-up. And then, not as random, but Slide goes the opposite way, where now he cares about his brother. And now all of a sudden, before, like the first wrestling match when he's with Frank McRae, who would go on to be in Lockup, another film I enjoy. He's in this as the first wrestler that the brother fights. And even when that guy's getting beat up, Stone's like, yeah, come on, you get up, go get him, you can get up. And throughout the film, he's really only seemingly caring for himself. And then again, not much of a build-up where he does the switch. It's like him and Armand Assante all of a sudden in the third act switch roles. And then at the end, it's not even much of a... How do I word it? It's not much of a... Well, I'll just say something. It's not much of a conclusion because usually you would have, okay, there's going to be a moment where Armand Assante is apologizing to the brother that he's been putting these wrestling matches and pushing him, and he's going to talk about how he realizes he was wrong and he did it for this, and you know, there'd be some kind of conversation, some kind of revelation for the character, and maybe same with Stallone that, hey, you know what, I've been an asshole for a while, I only care about myself. There'd be some kind of conversation or some kind of confrontation or some kind of thing. That really doesn't happen because it's the last fight is in the ring with their brother and Terry Funk, who would work with Stallone in films like Over the Top. And of course, Terry Funk was an actual wrestler. And the kid, the guy, their brother is losing and losing. And throughout it all, it's Stallone and Armand Assante yelling at each other, yelling at each other, yelling at each other. And then they go, oh, I guess, you know, he's down. He must be out. Stallone telling the asshole manager of Terry Funk to leave. And then Armand Assante telling him to leave. Terry Funk tries to hit Sly. And then the brother, who I guess was faking hurt the whole time, beats the shit out of Terry Funk and wins. And then they're pretty much together and they have a little conversation about, you don't lose on purpose? Why? Because the whole time, apparently, even though he was getting beaten up a lot because he was holding back. And apparently he was going through the fight until at that point in time. And Armand would say, why? Because I just wanted to be us. Wanted just to be brothers. Then they celebrate winning and then the movie ends. And I go, so did Armand Assante actually learn a lesson or anything? Did he... Like, why did he change so quickly, so almost randomly? Did he get any kind of penance, any kind of... It just, it drops. Same with Stallone. Did he learn anything from this? Did it, I mean, yeah, you don't have to do it with every movie, but it seems like the kind of film, it's not an action film, it's not a thriller, it's not a comedy, it's a drama first and foremost, and usually you would have that It's like it's trying to build up, and then all of a sudden this stuff happens. All of a sudden, here's a wrestling match, and then here's the ending. And I go, I just thought it was poorly written. Characters seem changed almost for randomness, and then there was no closure. I think that's the word I'm looking for, closure to it. And I don't know, it's just not much. Yeah, earlier in the film, Sly gets the strong brother to arm wrestle Terry Funk. First off, if I want to watch Terry Funk, Stallone, and arm wrestling, I watch Over the Top. Second off, this is done horribly. I know Stallone doesn't like Over the Top. I know Stallone's proud of this, which of course he directed it. But he doesn't like Over the Top. And I'm thinking, Sly, that arm wrestling was done better. Here, it's laughable because it's this long, it feels like 30 minutes of these two guys with their hands ready to arm wrestling, just staring at each other as a camera close to the brother's eyes. Then it's close to Terry Funk, making these weird faces and noises. These weird, goofy-ass fucking noises and faces. And then there's a close, slow pan to Stallone's face. Then to people in the crowd. Then maybe the bartender. Even to the fucking monkey. If I'm going to watch that and it's meant to be funny, I'll watch The Burbs, where they do the Ennio Morricone music and it pushes into everyone, including the dog, which is meant as a joke. This is meant to be serious. And I'm like, why are you centering on the monkey? And it's not even like, oh, here's a quirky, funny levity moment. It's dramatic. And then it's on the monkey. I'm like, what are you doing, man? There's a reason. And then all of a sudden, then the brother wins the arm wrestling match. And that's where Sly gets in an argument. No, I won the bet. He won the arm wrestling. I want my monkey. And the one guy tries to cut Sly's throat, but the big guy picks him up. And Armand Assante tells him to put the little guy down. You ever seen with that strong brother? I forget the guy's fucking name. I guess it's Lee Canalito. I don't know what else he's been in. He's singing Farrah Shaka, Farrah Shaka again and again and again to this fucking bird trying to get him to eat. And then he has the tone of the song, but he changes the words. Come on, bird, eat it. I gotta go to work, I gotta go to work. He keeps going with this, and it's irritating. It's annoying. It's fucking, again, it's annoying as fuck. And that's where Stone wakes up. He tries to kill this roach, and he fails. And he opens this thing up, and a fucking monkey is tied up with duct tape on his mouth. And I go, what the fuck movie am I watching? What is this? What the fuck am I watching? And he's trying to give money and have a dancing monkey, and the monkey's not having it. Sly here is pretty much a jerk. This is where Armand Assante's job at this point is an undertaker, and Sly steals the coat from a dead guy. He's like, what? He's not dancing? You don't go out dancing? No, he's not going to go out dancing, so I'm going to take your suit because I'm going to go on a date. You have Joe Spinell, and then you have like little stuff like Ann Archer is in this, in a really nothing role. Absolutely nothing role. Maybe that guy's Kevin Conway's in this? This was his, Kevin Conway. Huh. I don't know who the brother was. I don't know what his name was. I could probably just look it up on Wikipedia right now. Maybe it wasn't the name I said. Now I gotta look it up because I want to make sure. But that's when you get to Stallone and his brother. Yeah, Lee Canalito as Victor. So I was right. Okay, Kevin Conway, not Conroy. Conway is Stitch. That's the guy who's sort of the bad guy of the film. Okay, it's not Kevin Conroy. That's a different guy. Batman. It's Kevin Conway. Yeah, Terry Funk, Joe Spinell, Tom Waits. Frank Stallone has an appearance as a singer of this club. Yeah, Anne Archer is in this, and it's really for nothing. She kind of this club. It seems like she's kind of a hooker, but kind of not. Like she's kind of there just for people who want to dance with her and like come up to dance with her. So I guess not really a hooker, but at one point someone offers her sex or some kind of sex, and she says no. She doesn't want to get back with Armand Assante, then they do, and then it seems as if Armand Assante's going to be blowing her off, and then all of a sudden, nope, I just not. They're totally fine, and then Anne Archer disappears for the last half hour of the movie. You have a girl who falls in love with Sly. At one point, it seems like the movies don't build up with Stallone and Armand Assante both loved Anne Archer, and Anne Archer chose Armand Assante, and Stallone's like, don't, you guys are playing with me. I'm sensitive. You guys are playing with me. And for the last half hour, that is completely dropped. So I'm like, what was the point of this? But yeah, Frank McRae from Lockup and such is a wrestler, and the Lee Canelito Victor, he wins by giving Frank McRae some shoulder tackles and like these big overhead haymakers. Sly chats with his girl on a rooftop. Their brother quits his job, which back then they would carry ice to people who need ice, and he just quits it to be a wrestler. And Armand Assante Sly are going to be the guy's manager. And then the last chunk of the film, you have a little bit of montage of the guy and wrestling matchers winning matches. And like I said, that's when Armand Assante starts being an asshole, and then all of a sudden Sly starts caring about his brother. And there's no build-up. It comes out of nowhere. It seems really fucking random. Like, oh, now all of a sudden Sly... To me, that could have been done a lot better. Just comes out of left field. So there's this scene too. This comes out of left field too, where Frank McRae, who was the wrestler before, Sly comes to him at Christmas Eve, gets him some alcohol. They go out, drive this vehicle, crash into a person's store or a person's bar. And Frank McRae says, hey, I want to thank you for letting me have a good time. And Stallone's like, okay, where you gonna go? And Frank McRae goes, oh, I'm gonna go jump in the river. He's going to commit suicide. And even like Sly's like, what are you talking about? And Frank McRae goes, well, I'm going to do this now because I feel good. Because when I don't feel good, I feel blue, then I don't want to do anything to myself. I just want to beat someone up, and that's not right. But I guess because the guy's life is shit, and yeah, he was wrestling, but it was just wrestling for room and board, and he has really nothing else to do, nothing else to live for, I guess. And the guy just jumps in the river, and Stallone doesn't do anything. He just stands there. Granted, I know Frank McRae asked him, I don't want hero stuff. And Frank McRae kills himself. And I'm just like, and Stallone, you see Stallone's the next shot or two sitting by the water, and then Armand Assante and his brother come up. And here I am thinking, oh, well, Stallone's going to talk about Frank McRae. So, that guy, he jumped in the river. He did this and did that. No, he never brings up Frank McRae's suicide. Never brings it up to his brother. Never brings it up to Armand Assante. I'm like, what was the point of this fucking scene? It just seems awkward. We just had someone commit suicide. in a film that wasn't as dark as that before or even after. And I'm like, that's what I mean. I know a lot of people enjoy this film, and I'll get shit for not liking it, but that's fine. I'm not going to lie. I think the script is poor at times. The acting is there. Armand Assante is fine. I like Armand Assante as an actor. Stallone, sometimes he's fine. Sometimes it's a bit forced energy, bluster of the con artist character. The wrestling, honestly, for the most part, didn't do much for me. It just felt as if he's trying to redo Rocky. It's just not as exciting, not as good. And yeah, once in a while, like the last moments of the brother character beating up Terry Funk and doing these sort of arm drags and throwing him, okay, but some nice throwing the guy into the belt buckle, the guy going up, but it doesn't compare to the boxing matches and the Rocky films. It's just, not really. Didn't do much for me. It just wasn't that exciting to watch. And then, like I said, at the end, the guy does win, and they all hug each other. And I'm like, now it's all good? There's no closure to all this shit that was going on with them? It's just, no, it's all good because he won. The score, I thought was forgettable. I don't remember a beat of the score, and that's sad because it's Bill Conti. I'm sorry, I don't remember a piece of the score. Bill Conti, I love the stuff he did in Rocky 2, Rocky 3, but also for what he did in Lockup. I think Lockup is a great score. But here, I don't remember anything. And then you have the song at the end credits that we heard at the beginning was Stallone singing. And I'm sorry, Sylvester, leave that to Frank Stallone. I'd rather listen to Peace in Our Life. Remember the cross. A tear for my brother. Think of them all. Home of the brave. I'm sorry, I had to think about this for a bit. I'm like, would I ever watch this film again? No. And sorry it's getting darker because I thought it was going to be enough light. But maybe, hey, it matches my mood. Some of the acting is fine, and some of the direction is alright, but at the same time, there's really nothing to offer here. I was bored. I was sleepy. I thought it was sluggish. I thought the script wasn't as polished as it could be. I think certain tangents, weird tangents, like the monkey and the Joe Spinell with the red nose on his face like a clown. It just didn't do it for me. Certain characters that all of a sudden change at the drop of a hat, and I don't care for Sly's character. Then by the time we're supposed to care for him, I'm like, I don't really buy it. Because for it's he didn't really care about his, Victor, his big strong brother's welfare. When, hey, go ahead, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and wrestle him. Oh, you didn't beat him. Oh, go ahead, you're doing fine. And I just didn't buy the switch. Same with Armand Assante. And the Ann Archer stuff with her and Armand Assante could have been easily cut out of the film. It didn't really bring anything, any nuance or any tension with like a love triangle between those two and Sly because it just dropped. The score I don't remember much of. The wrestling scenes didn't do much for me. I mean, there were a handful of moments of wrestling, but for the most part, I'm like, I'd rather watch a Rocky film. I did not care for Paradise Alley. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I could lie, but I'm not gonna lie. If you like the film, that's fine. Most people like the film, and that's fine. And hell, again, I love Stallone. I mean, that's what people don't get. I love Stallone movies. I won't turn this light on. I love Stallone movies. I do. There's so many Stallone films I love, but Paradise Alley is not one of them. And I had not seen this before, and I will never see this again. Not even probably, I will never see this movie again. If I want drama, I can watch his Rocky films, Copland, even his action films. He does good work. I think Daylight's a good performance. I think Detox, great underrated performance. Rocky Balboa. I mean, Copland. But this, no, I'm sorry. Just not for me. It's not for me. I did not think there would be a rant, but I call it like it is. So, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.